In the previous video, we have discussed about types of environment, that is internal environment and external environment. Under external environment, we have discussed about micro environment. In today's video, we will discuss about macro environment. Now, what is this macro environment? Macro environment consists of the factors that are outside the organization, or you can say external factors. Now, what are the factors which are outside the organization? They consist of economic factors, political, legal, socio cultural, technological, and so on. And these factors are universally applicable to all the firms. Now, when I say universally applicable to all the firms, it means that these factors are applicable to all the firms within a particular industry. Now, let's say that tax rate for electronic goods is 5%. So, all the firms who are selling electronic goods have to pay tax at 5%, irrespective of the brand that they are selling. So, like this, macro environment factors are the factors which are applicable to all the firms within a particular industry. Now, macro environment is further classified as economic and non-economic environment. Now, let us study in detail about macro environment. Economic environment. Now, as we all know that business is an economic activity, so business has a strong influence of economic factors like the demand, supply, price, market, income, cost of production, competition, and so on. All these factors have a strong influence on the functioning of the business. So, if a business organization wants to be successful, then it has to take into consideration all these economic factors and plan the business accordingly. Now, let us study about the non-economic environment. Under non-economic environment, we have sociological factors. Now, as man is called as social animal, similarly business is a social organization which is created by man to serve the society. Objective of every business is to earn profit. But when can a business earn profit? Only when the goods are purchased by the customers and business has got acceptance by the society. When will the business have customers? When the business is selling goods of good quality at reasonable price, then the customers will easily accept the business. When will the society accept the business? Only when business is following ethical practices, okay, then, and it is legally doing business, that is business organization is not selling illegal goods or it is not following any malpractices, then they will be accepted by the society. So any business organization which wants to succeed in the market has to take into consideration the sociological aspects of the environment and then plan the business activities. Next is physical or ecological factors. Now, survival of the business is dependent on physical resources that it receives from the nature, just like raw materials, water, air, etc. Business actually creates ecological imbalance by exploiting the nature for its business purpose, just like extraction of raw materials, cutting of forest, release of industrial waste, air pollution, etc. All these are causing ecological imbalance and they have resulted into natural calamities like flood, earthquake, drought, tsunamis, etc. And the people are also becoming aware of these aspects and they're trying to create mass movements to protect the nature and preserve the ecology. Okay, so business has to be aware of ecological disorder and it must create must create or have awareness about the ecological damage that it is doing, and for that purpose business can take steps like installing waste treatment plant, noise control equipment, undertaking plantation of trees and so on to minimize the pollution. So if a business organization wants to be successful, it has to take care that it is causing minimum damage to the ecology. Next is demographic factors. Now, demographic factors of a business consist of population, size and trend of population, growth rate, age, caste, family size, lifestyle, culture, standard of living, education, and so on. So the business organization has to study the demographic factors. It has to understand the type of people who are living in the country or the area where the business wants to sell goods, and according to the demographic factors it can design the goods and services that are required by the population that is staying in its target market, and accordingly it can satisfy the wants of those customers. Suppose if the business does not have an idea about the type of population it wants to satisfy the needs about, then it will not be in position to manufacture the goods that are required by that particular type of customer. So it is important to study the demographic aspects of the customers and then manufacture the goods and services accordingly. Next is political factors. Business activities in a country are determined by the political system, and it is very important that the government in a particular country is stable, because business organization can be successful only when there is stability of government. If the government keeps on changing from time to time, then there will be change in business policies by the government, which will lead to instability in the business. Some political parties may support business activities while the others might oppose certain business activities. Then it leads to instability in the business organization. So it is very important that a business organization takes into consideration political factors while it is planning for its business activities. Next is science and technology. Development in the field of science and technology will increase competitiveness of the business, because it helps to innovate new products, new methods of production and distribution that will reduce the cost, increase the speed, and provide more comfort and convenience. Now, as we know that there is always change in science and technology, and the business organization which upgrades itself with the changing technology will be in position to survive in the market. If the business organization is not upgrading its technology, then it will lose the share in the market to its competitors. Now let us take example of mobile phones. Now earlier we know that the Nokia and Samsung were leading companies who were selling keypad phones, but especially Nokia, it failed to upgrade its technology, and now you can see at present there are different companies who are selling smartphones to the customers. Even Nokia is selling smartphone to the customer these days, but it has lost that acceptance from the people. So like this, it becomes very important for a business organization to change its products as per the changing technology. If the business will not do so, then it will lose its market to its competitors. Next is education. Education level in the society and the nature of education also determines business environment, because every business organization needs skilled and trained manpower. So it is very important that business monitors what type of education is provided in the society, whether the education that is provided is meeting the requirements of the business. Because you see, whatever you study theoretical in education, it is different from the practical aspect that you apply while you are working in a particular organization. There is always a gap between theory and practical. If the education system in a country is well developed, practical training is given to the youth or the people who are studying, then it becomes easy for them to work in a business organization. If lot of theoretical aspect is covered in education, then business organization will have to spend more on training people. So it is very important for a business organization to study what type of education is received and accordingly train its manpower so as to satisfy the needs of the organization. Okay. Next is legal environment. Now, activities of business are regulated by various laws. Provision of these laws dictate the method, procedure, and formalities to be completed before commencing any business. Now, for example, if you want to form a company, then compulsorily you will have to follow Companies Act. Whatever are the provisions given in the Companies Act for formation of the company, you have to follow that. So business organization, when it is planning to start a business or to expand the business, it has to study what is the law applicable and accordingly follow that procedure to expand or to start a new business. If the business organization ignores the law, then the business organization will be considered as illegal and it may get notice to shut down the business. So it is very important that the law which is applicable to the business is followed. Apart from the Companies Act, now business will have to pay tax to the government. So which type of tax is applicable to the business, that has to be studied by the business organization, and tax also will be have to be paid by the organization. So like this, all the laws that are applicable to business should be properly studied and followed. Otherwise, business will be forced to shut down its activities by the government. Next is cultural environment. Every society has its own unique culture. Culture can be defined as living styles, habits of the people, rituals, customs, traditions, festivals, family life, food habits, etc. All these are the part of cultural system. We all know that culture of West is more open and liberal. Their family values are different. But on the other hand, culture of India is more traditional and there are many restrictions that are laid down by the society. So when you are doing business, you have to be aware of the culture, the value system of the people, and accordingly sell the goods and services in that particular country. Okay, if you're not aware about the culture, then it becomes difficult to understand what are the needs, wants of your customers, because the taste and preference of the customers who are in India will be different and who are in West or in foreign countries, their taste, choice and preference will be different. So it is very important for an business organization to study the culture of that particular country and then manufacture goods and services in order to satisfy the customers in a better manner. Next is sectoral environment. Firms which are doing similar business belong to a particular sector or industry. For example, transport industry, bank industry, textile industry, steel, and so on. Experiences of all the firms in an industry will be same. They will come under one set of laws, regulation. They will use similar plant and machinery, raw materials, and they will have common customer base. In spite of such similarities, results of all the firms will differ. That is, some firms will make profit, some less, and others will incur loss. Why there is this variation? The variation may be due to level and accuracy with which they are studying the prevailing business environment. That is, it is very important for every business organization individually to study their environment in detail. What are the changing things that are happening in the environment, whether it is internal environment or external environment, or for that matter what is their competitor strategy. It is very important for a business organization to understand the environment and then change the policies accordingly in order to survive in the market for a longer period of time. Next is labor environment. Labor is important factor for production of any kind of business. Success of business depends upon availability of manpower, particularly skilled manpower. It also depends upon the cooperation of workers and their unions. So it is very important for a business organization to study about the type of labor that it requires and what are the needs of the labor. Now every person joins a business organization with certain expectations, that is good working condition, good salary, bonus, promotion, incentives, and so on. If the business organization does not satisfy its workers, then they will form a union against the business and they may go in for strikes, lockouts, and so on. So it is very important that the business organization satisfies the needs of workers and from time to time provide required training for the workers, because business organization has to keep itself updated not only in terms of technology but also in terms of manpower. Okay, so it is very important that business organizations satisfy the laborers as well as provide good working condition to the labor, because then only workers will be satisfied and they will contribute to well-being of the organization. With this I conclude for today. Thank you.